Is it just scheduled? There it is. It's live. All right. Wow, I had a total blank millennial pause there. I'm Adam Rosenberg. You can see that I have Scott Reichel with me as usual because he's invaded all my shows because I always ask him 10 minutes before.
It's not invading if you invite me, just to be clear.
That's true. It's, yeah, be very clear. It's kind of like when you're killed by your spouse. You let them into your home. Like they didn't just invade your home. So anyway, I see Corey's in the chat. We are going to talk about some NFL. We'll talk about some NBA. I just got off a red eye, so I'm a little bit all over the place, but it's Thanksgiving week, so no one cares. We can do whatever we want, and we're going to do that. So if you were somehow in Scott and mine's Zoom, which we only did just us, you cooked this weekend.
Pretty much.
we absolutely obliterated the board yesterday.
Well, to be fair, we did kill the Monday night game from last week. So
we did kill the Monday night game from last week too. All right. But with that said, let's jump right in. Why is this so? Let me do this. Hold on. Sharing this tab. Yeah, because I'm not going to share any other tabs. I've decided you guys no one wants to see someone else's website. So
this feels like the eyesight test when you're at the doctor and you have to read the fifth line instead of the first one.
Yeah. All right. So NFL, we'll do 15 minutes on NFL. We'll do 15 minutes on an NBA. All right. NFL, the place where I just was at SoFi Stadium, but this time it's going to be the Chargers, who also have no fans, against the Baltimore Ravens, who might have some fans. Harbaugh Bowl. Out of the gate, what do you think on this? Do you have a side that you like, Scott?
Well, I do want to ask you, because you said the no fans angle. When you were at the actual arena yesterday, what percentage do you think were Philly fans?
I actually have the actual percentage. So I met a VIP host who was responsible for all the hospitality there, and they tallied. So walking into the stadium, all of the people who were selling gear, they were selling Eagles gear.
Okay.
So
you gotta make money one way or another. So fair
right.
enough.
And it was 65% Eagles fans, but whenever there was a penalty and there was a booing or something like that, it was a little bit off-putting because I was it felt like a home game. I did, however, as I showed this to Scott, I did purchase a Rams shirt. It's from the 99 team, and somebody was giving me shit in the in line because I was wearing my Eagles stuff, and they said, "Why is an Eagles fan buying Rams gear?" And I said, "Well, look, this team was in St. Louis, by the way, when they won this, so you really have nothing to comment on right now."
It's a hell of a clapback, by the way.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It's a hell of a clapback. To go back to what you were saying before, the point that I was trying to make was that home field doesn't exactly exist in the stadium, no matter if the Chargers or the Rams are playing. And Baltimore, we know, has been solid for the most part. They will underachieve against some teams over the course of the season, Steelers being one of them. But I think that they are, in my opinion, the better team than the Chargers. Yes, the pass defense is a problem. I didn't forget about that. Were you impressed by the Chargers win against the Bengals last week? Because I don't know how to react to that game.
Both those teams had the same problems with the Bengals. So just going to common opponent, I want to go to common opponent for a second. Common opponent, Ravens have done worse against the teams than the Chargers have. If you want to go through them, and maybe it's probably just seeing them, Gardner Minshew just having the Ravens number. That's fine. Let's chalk it up to that because it's 2 years in a row.
Teams, by the way.
I know, with different teams, he's beaten them. Uh-huh. So I will take that. I will say Gardner Minshew has beaten the Ravens. They both lost to the Steelers in the same type of game. Mm-hmm. They both lost to the Chiefs in arguably the same type of game. They both effectively throttled the Broncos, I would say. This game wasn't as close as it looked. They both so the Ravens lost to the Browns, and while the Chargers absolutely obliterated the Browns, and this is kind of started the Chargers' little win streak. And they both had the exact same trouble with the Bengals, where they just gave up tons of yards and they played close. They gave up close games. Like that game, they won it by a touchdown, but it was closer than that for a lot of it because the Bengals just kept throwing and kept doing that. So I don't believe that this Chargers team is unstoppable. I believe that this Ravens team, I think this Ravens team is more flawed than this Chargers team.
Well, the pass defense is god awful, so they can lose to anybody at this point.
Right. But at any given time. And I think Herbert is playing really, really well with arguably a bunch of bums. Like, I mean,
well, that could be the problem you run into, because I do think that the weapons that Baltimore has offensively are objectively better than the weapons that the Chargers have, in my opinion.
yes,
So
I agree.
I think the main thing for me, we're going to mention in a second with props, the main reason why I think I am going Baltimore in this game, I just trust the red zone and short yardage offense a bit more than I trust the Chargers. Harbaugh, we know that his brother, John Harbaugh, is extremely aggressive. He'll go for it on fourth down a ton. With Henry, with Lamar, they are pretty effective on fourth and short. I don't really know what the Chargers are going to do on fourth and short, because Harbaugh's been kicking field goals. Sorry, I got to use first names in this game. Jim has been kicking a lot. What do they have? They have Gus Edwards as their short yardage guy?
So they have the Ravens backfield from last year.
That's kind of a problem, because I think that the Ravens, if we're looking at a game that should be close based on the spread, I trust the team that I think can pick up the extra first downs on short yard situations more often. And I think that's going to benefit Baltimore. So give me a close game, give me a fun game. Chargers also 20th in red zone touchdown percentage. Really not a great red zone offense, and you can't keep settling for field goals against Baltimore. I think Baltimore scores enough touchdowns to win. I think it'll be a fun game, a close game, but I think that Baltimore fans will take over the stadium. So give me the Ravens by like 4-7 if I had to go.
Yeah, I like that. I'm more prone to the total being under on this game, or maybe finding a way to do a Chargers team total under. It's hard. It's hard when you have these when you have a keep saying Raiders, a Ravens defense that's so bad on the pass, like everybody gets let in.
Yeah.
But again, this Chargers team just doesn't have really weapons. Like Will Dissly's not like a weapon.
And to be fair, Baltimore's red zone defense has been fine. So you might see a couple drives stall out.
Yep. I mean, I also don't buy, there's like a lot of talk of, oh, they're going to stop Derrick Henry. Like, first of all, a Tomlin Steelers defense should not be compared in the same way to a Chargers Harbaugh defense. Like, they're not the same. And like, I don't think Derrick Henry is going to have a problem picking up those first downs. So
didn't Chase Brown just like dominate this defense?
Yeah, he just like this team got like shredded by Chase Brown. They got like their last few games.
I think they're pretty good against the run in general, but Chase Brown I thought would have an underwhelming game last week, and he cooked. So
I think pretty sure Pollard cooked them too. And Jameis threw for 300 yards. Spencer,
to be
Rattler,
fair, the Jameis one was kind of in garbage time because he kept throwing picks the entire game. But yeah, he did throw.
He did. I mean, that was the only game that he's thrown picks, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out to Jameis.
Yeah.
Well, he threw one against the Steelers, but that was in the snow. So I don't know if you want to count that or not.
Benedict Dantold pointing out, who, by the way, if you watched last Wednesday, gave out a bunch of soccer bangers that all hit.
I'm still salty at Man City thinking of soccer.
That sucks.
What a shame.
That team blows.
They couldn't score against Tottenham. Give me a break.
At home. Double revenge game for Chargers running backs. Effectively, did you like the Ravens running backs last year? Well, I got news for you. Now they are with a worse offensive line, and on the Chargers, the actual rushing I like is from Herbert, not him. But let's kind of jump into some props. I will get my screen set up. Okay, let's go back and forth like we do. So what do you want first? Give me a prop that you like first.
Well, I like how you made field goals because you knew what I was going to say.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, I'll go with Dicker the kicker over 1.5 field goals
Former
here.
Eagle.
I said before that Baltimore has been, once again, kind of a bend but don't break defense. A lot of passing yards. The red zone defense, though, is fine. The Chargers, though, not great in the red zone. We saw them stall out a time or two against the Bengals last week. But Dicker's been great kicking-wise. He's gone over this number in 10 of his last 13, dating back to last season. It's 1.5 field goals at minus 135. Gone over this in 5 of the last 6. I think it's a good spot. We know that SoFi is maybe not necessarily a dome, but there's a roof there, which helps.
It was cold.
Yeah. The point is, though, it does limit the actual weather effects of the game, which should help out. But he's gone over this number regularly at home as well. I think he's gone over
2. The one was Kansas City, which we knew was never going to happen because of that defense.
Yeah, pretty much. So the point is, I do think if the Chargers can move the ball in this team, which they should, I think they might stall in the red zone, maybe not. Dicker has a pretty decent leg in general. I don't think he can hit it from 60, but 56, he can reach that. I think he's got some opportunities. Harbaugh has been willing to kick a lot. It's why you're looking at the Chargers getting a bunch of attempts. I believe they're tied for 7th in field goal attempts per game, and Baltimore's allowing the 4th most attempts per game in the entire league. So if you're expecting a close game, maybe the Chargers defense doesn't get blown off the field. You might see some settling for field goals. So I don't mind Dicker here. It's mostly fading Baltimore's defense, but not entirely. I think that looking at the Chargers' red zone offense, they might stall out one time or two. Give me Dicker over 1.5 field goals at -135.
Like it. I know it's at the top of the list, but we talked about it earlier. We texted a little about it. I took Lamar Jackson over 36.5. It can go over 37.5. You can just go. I think he's going to pass a ton.
It was Lamar or it was Herbert who you liked?
So I initially told you Herbert, and I retreated a little bit. I might go back to it, but I love Lamar on it. Again, the guys that, and I'd sent you this little list, and I could pull it up to where you are. Hang on a second, guys, as I have it. So over in 7 of his last 8, Chargers got torched by like every quarterback. In 3 of the last 4 have hit over their longest. It's Burrow, Levis, Spencer Rattler hit over his longest.
That's just funny. Okay.
Yeah, it's just I think it's great. I think that this is not a good passing defense. Their ADOT's really high. Their ADOT's increased over the last few weeks. Their 20-yard attempts against has increased the last few weeks. So give me Lamar to just throw one bomb. Like his passing yards is also really high for him. It's 230. So I don't know how he's getting to 230 unless he throws at least one 39-yarder. So
is
not
this
exactly
game,
like
by
a West
the way?
Coast offense.
I know I might build a reverse correlated parlay. Is this the Bateman game?
There's always a Bateman game.
I'm just asking.
He loves Bateman. He loves him.
Is this the like potential 2-3 reception game for like 80 yards?
I was actually going to say, do you think this is the Nelson Aguilar game?
It could be. I mean, you're the expert, unlike Aguilar. I mean, I don't know if you trust him or not, but we'll see. Point is, somebody should be open deep at some point in this game. Yeah,
I agree with that. I'd looked at Herbert passing. It's a little too high for me. Like, I don't feel the need to do that. I actually don't hate it as like an underdog thing. I've been playing around with underdog a little bit, but from the receiving end, I liked Quentin Johnson TD. I don't really, his yards is now at 50.
Okay.
I don't know if I necessarily like that because the reality is that with Quentin Johnson, he's getting a bomb. He's getting a TD. He's not used in offense to move chains.
He's basically de facto Mike Williams 2.0, but he's worse than Mike Williams.
But with knees. But with actual knees.
The point is, though, it's kind of weird with Quentin Johnson because you watch him play and you see like one massive highlight per game, and you're like, oh, this guy's pretty good. And then he's invisible for the rest of the game, and you're like, what happened to this guy?
All last season. Yeah.
All the time. And then he'll have like one big play, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. He caught a touchdown pass, and then he's invisible for the last 2 quarters. So I don't mind Quinn Johnson's longest potentially in this matchup.
What other you don't mind his longest? Let's look. I can take that. Let's see.
And we are picking Herbert. I know you said that you were kind of wavering on Herbert.
I could take. I mean, dude, at 270, I feel like we have to.
It would go to him if it was anybody. Maybe McConkey if he finds a wide open, solid route. But I think it's a decent spot.
So he's been cooking on this. I don't get how he didn't hit it against Cincy. That's weird to me.
I mean, most of their damage came early in the game, and I don't know if that was a bizarre second half that the Chargers had in general. But I mean, I'll say we don't have to take Herbert. I'm saying if Herbert was going to go over, it probably is going to Quentin. So I'm curious what Johnson's longest reception.
Let's see.
But I mean, in theory, McConkey could do it, but it's probably going to.
He's banged up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
he's always hurt too.
Yeah.
Longest. He had 26. Yeah, I mean, that would be the play. 23 is very doable.
If he's getting to 50.5 receiving yards, he's catching at least one pass over this.
Well, let's see what's his receptions at.
I think it was a 3.5.
Which probably plus money. Oh no, it isn't. Wow, I think he's gonna get that many. That's
impressive. I think every passing number is inflated because of Baltimore's defense.
He had how many targets did he have last week? So he had 8 targets. He only had 2 receptions. He stinks.
That didn't work out.
Yeah, it did.
But
I could take this. Actually, if you're gonna have a guy that's gonna catch one on it, I would do that. I could take this. Because that's the thing is that Baltimore's really bad at big plays.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really want to sweat him getting to 50. I'd rather one and done, and he's not getting to 50 without a 25er.
Oh, because once he catches the bomb, you could just expect him to not do anything for the rest of the game at this point. But
Benedict asking, what about Disley receptions yards? Ravens have struggled against tight end. They have. The reason I didn't like it was because it was really high. I mean, it's not 40. Like we were getting this in the 30s before. It's not bad. The receptions actually might be a good one. 5 is a lot. I mean,
I think when we did the parlay last week, we ended up having Disley at 4. We actually took it down in that FanDuel parlay for the boost.
Yeah, 5's a lot for a team that gives up deep ball. Like you don't need you don't need to rely on the tight end.
Yeah.
Let me look at I'll look at it lately.
Well, to add to the tight end concerns, I know that Roquan has a chance of not playing. He hasn't practiced all week, so he might.
Oh, really? So
I heard rumors he might not play. It's not confirmed or not. Maybe he suits up. I think he missed practice the entire week, so he might be out for this game.
That's good to know. If there's no pass rush. If it's no pass rush, it means that the corners are going to get cooked. Because a pass rush helps corners because it takes a lot of that pressure off. And he's the guy. So
yeah, the update on Roquan, by the way, did not practice all week because of a hamstring issue that he had in the fourth quarter last week. Not been ruled out, but if he plays, he'll be on a pitch count.
When people say that when you have a hamstring injury, the pitch count is that he's hurt. It's not
Correct.
like
the pitch count is he'll go until he tells you I can't really move, or the coaches realize you actually can't walk. So
if that's in mind, if this is the thing, then I don't hate. It's a high number.
Yeah, it is.
It's just there's guys that I'd rather do Palmer over than Disley over. And Palmer's at like 35.
Remember when we thought Palmer was actually going to have a decent season?
He stinks.
I know. It's not working out for him.
Do we want either of the running backs? Do we think this is a Gus Edwards game?
I don't know if I ever expect any game to be a Gus Edwards game.
His attempts is so high.
I guess the question I have for you, though, after Dobbins kind of broke through late in that fourth quarter, he had the touchdown on the goal line, actually, instead of Edwards. Are we just expecting Dobbins to just reclaim the entire backfield and Edwards barely gets any touches?
I think he's going to get. I think if he gets touches at all, look, Harbaugh's one of my favorite. Jim Harbaugh's one of my favorite coaches because he's petty.
Yeah,
and I love petty.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rogue's pointing out first quarter Disley over. I mean, there's not really as much of an angle. I get it. It's not bad, but like the derivative stuff, by the way, is more. I like to do it when it's like an airtight thing. I don't really necessarily like to do it just to get a better number because you generally aren't relying on a tight end unless you're like struggling to move the ball. So we'll see. I'll take a look at it. But yeah, here's the thing. I think Gus Edwards is going to get some goal line looks. So I'd rather just take Gus Edwards' touchdown than anything else.
It's a much better deal than the rushing yards.
I don't want his rushing yards. So yeah. I'll put that in there. Let me look at just for the sake of argument before we move to NBA. There's a ton of stuff I like in this game, just to be clear. Let me just see what the quarter one yards is. All right, first half reception yards, first quarter receiving yards. Yeah, he's been really good on that lately. Yeah, actually now, Rogue, as I look at it, I don't hate Will Disley first quarter receiving yards. Especially when his longest reception is 17.5. Yeah. I don't hate this. I think that can be that's doable. Let me just see if there's a targets. Oh, this is for the games. Yeah, I think actually I do like that. Good luck, Rogue. I like that one a lot more.
By the way, when you were typing stuff in, I saw a name that pop up, and I kind of forgot that he even existed because they traded for him.
Who?
Is Deontay Johnson ever going to do anything with this team?
Why did
they trade for him again?
Creamer and Terrell were trying to sell. Like he's not. His props don't even show up.
No, because you have that's regular. That's first quarter props. Okay, never mind. I don't know.
No, it's everything.
I saw the name pop up. I wouldn't bet him anyway. I'm just asking, why did they trade for Deontay again?
I don't know. The problem with Deontay is that Deontay could have had a monster year and gone and been a free agent, and now he's buried.
Correct. And he was good with Carolina. I know Thielen kind of reclaimed the entire offense there. Thielen looked good yesterday, but yeah, Deontay has just done nothing for this entire team.
Do we want to be disappointed by Zay Flowers again?
I mean, if we didn't bet it, then he's going to have a monster game. So there's really no win for us here. But
he's been terrible the last couple of weeks.
I know.
I mean, how is his number at 60?
I mean, I guess I'll ask you this question, though. How much do you actually like Chargers secondary? Because they got killed by the Bengals last week. But overall, they've been.
I think we already have the play then, because we already have Lamar over longest.
Yeah, no, I think we do too. I'm just asking because that would be the argument. Unless you want to go for Bateman. What's Bateman's longest reception in this game?
I love Bateman. I like Bateman a lot more. Bateman, in my opinion, is the safety blanket. See, I love this. Bateman's receiving yards is only at 38.
And his receptions are at 3.5.
Let's see. 3.5 at plus money. He's really getting 2.
Is this the under 3.5 receptions, 60, 70 plus yards game?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. I think it definitely is.
Okay. We might have to build a non-correlated parlay for that one.
Oh, 60 is plus 230. Yeah, we're doing this.
And you throw out the receptions, that'll be a nice payout. That's probably worth something.
Yeah, we'll do this. We're going to do this. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go to. So in terms of the stuff that we have, we'll give you guys everything that we have. The stuff that of the 4 that we're actually going to bet. Dicker, Lamar longest over, the Quentin touchdown. And then I like the Disley first quarter receiving.
No, it's a good angle.
Yeah,
I've done it in the first quarter lately. And
those are the ones that I would want. Okay, it's cool. Let's now. So yeah, you know what, guys? I'm gonna remove stuff that we're not betting because it's just gonna bother everybody. We're not betting Quentin Johnson and the other thing. We only bet his touchdown. We have Dicker. We have Lamar. Quentin Johnson touchdown and the Disley first quarter receiving. And then we're doing a same game parlay of Rashad Bateman under receptions over receiving yards.
I want to see what that actually pays out. I could actually build that now.
Yeah, build it now while I'm getting the NBA.
So what's the number we wanted though? We wanted 60 for receiving yards?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Yeah.
I mean his Lamar's passing is at 230.
I was making sure you didn't want to go higher on that. So yeah, 60 is plus 210 by itself, which I still think is a good price in general. And especially if you are pivoting off of Flowers and you want to go for somebody else.
Yeah.
But for Flowers receptions, sorry, just quickly finding it.
Benedict saying that he's like the Herbert rushing and the total field goal yards are my plays. I like the field goal yards. I'm less into the Herbert rushing now that I know that Roquan might not play.
By the way, if you throw in Bateman and the under 3.5, this is FanDuel, so shop around. 60 plus receiving yards under 3.5 is around 1250.
I bet you we could find it on DraftKings too, but
probably could. I'm just saying on FanDuel it's plus 1253.
Cool. Okay, let's go to NBA. I'm gonna be late to my other call. I don't care. Okay. All right. We don't have Cubs. We don't have anything like that. Is there a game that you had peaked that you liked? The one that I had liked is further down later tonight, but is there anything that you kind of had already caught your eye?
Well, I just did the NBA show with SGPN. So my lock was going to be the Thunder, actually. I can't escape that team I try. But they have lines that are just,
again?
I know. But it's 4. The Kings lost to the Nets yesterday. They have Hartenstein. So at least they have a center now. They got somebody who can rebound the damn ball. I think 4's too short. 4.5. The Kings, I have not been impressed by. I think this team is underwhelming from all intents and purposes. I think Mike Brown's an overrated head coach. It is what it is. But the Thunder having an actual center, they still have SGA. They still have Jalen Williams. I think they have enough scoring punch to get the job done. They lost the Nets at home yesterday. They're on a back-to-back. Thunder didn't play yesterday. I like the spot. I think the line's too low. I'll go with the Thunder. I do have a play that I think is a solid prop, but I do want to ask you about a money line potentially.
Okay.
You're going to think it's disgusting. The Raptors take on the Pistons today.
If you tell me to back the Raptors, I love it.
Plus 180. Without Cade, I have no interest in backing the Pistons. We've seen this team play without Cade before. This team
Raps have won 2 of their last 3.
And they lost to the Cavs yesterday. Ty Jerome at 26 points, whatever. Ty Jerome had a monster game. Toronto got Scotty Barnes back. They're not as bad as they were about a week or 2 ago based on the roster on paper. But with Cade being out, I have no faith in Detroit to be favored against anybody. I think it's a lot of points. I think Toronto can keep the game interesting. Am I not?
You want to do the money line?
I think it's intriguing at about plus 180.
I'd rather do the money line than the spread.
Oh, no, I agree. I'm just asking. Do you think there's some value there? Because Detroit being minus 200 with no Cade.
Why is Detroit minus 200 at all?
Correct. I think without Cade, it's an insane price.
Yeah, I think I'm on that with you. I'm also noticing, like, why are the Clippers plus 420 to the Celtics?
Because Hingus came back.
Okay, so what does that mean?
It means he plays about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
That's what it means. I'll tell you this. I still don't want to lay 10.5 with Boston because they've been terrible as a double-digit favorite the entire season.
They've been also really bad in the third quarter if we want to get really cute.
Correct, but there was a prop I was actually tempted by in that game. I'm waiting.
Hold on. Well, let me go. I'll go to the props for a second. I just want to see third quarter spreads if we can, if there's a good way to fade Boston because they have been.
It's about 2.5, 3.5.
All right, so there's nothing there that I liked. There's prop stuff that I like. I'd rather just jump into that. So let's just jump into the props.
Well, I was going to say in that Boston game, Horford might not play. Cornette might not play. We've roasted Porzingis for not rebounding for his entire career. I like Tatum double-double.
Oh, boy, here we are.
I know. I think it makes a lot of sense, though. I know that we'd agree that Porzingis is an underwhelming rebounder for a center. He's not going to get many minutes anyway.
He doesn't hang out under the
Correct.
net.
He's not going to get many minutes anyway, and Cornette and Horford might not play. So I think it's a great spot for Tatum to have a decent rebounding game. It's a good price at plus 163. 10 rebounds alone, if you want to ignore double-double. It's a good Tatum rebounding spot. I'll put it that way.
What's the Tatum 10 rebounds? 2-1. Let's do that.
I think it's a great price.
I think we want the Tatum 2-1 10 rebounds.
And for reference, he had 11 against the Clippers the last time they faced off. But I think it's a good number.
Yeah, I think I'd rather that. I mean, it's better price than the double-double, unless you think he's getting it via assists. Which I don't. Yeah.
So,
let's do that. I like that. Okay, I liked Draymond. I like Draymond assists. I had been looking at his RA is not actually his RA. Well, now that I have assists, his RA probably wouldn't have been bad.
The Nets have basically no centers left.
The Nets have no center. Yeah, like the Nets have no center. This is my pivot now that this is a little more expensive. Is I would tell people to take the RA. I think the RA is fine, but like first of all, he's gonna kill this team. They're 12-point favorites. If they're 12-point favorites, then there's going to be some facilitating that's going on. And I believe like 70% of centers have gone over their assist number against the Nets, and the Nets are off a back-to-back.
Yeah. Awful win too in Sacramento.
I know. So yeah, and we already like his potential assists are crazy. Like I like his assists. This is 135, so I can't consciously really tell people to do that, but I think the 12.5 rebounds and assists is perfectly fine.
To update the actual injury report for the Nets, though, I know Cam Thomas kind of banged up his back yesterday, but he had 34. He finished the game. Simmons is not going to play because it's a back-to-back.
And
I know he stinks, but the point is he's still a center.
He's ducking Draymond.
Yeah. The point is he's still a center. But you're looking at Noah Clowney, their backup center, who rolled his ankle yesterday. He'll probably be out for a couple weeks. Claxton's always in foul trouble, but the point is he's basically the only center on the roster. They used Watford as like their center.
Yeah. He was the emergency one last night. Yeah, isn't he like 6'4"?
Yeah, pretty much. So they don't really have any backup center left on the team, assuming that Clowney is not going to play off of rolling his ankle. It's actually randomly like a really good Kevon Looney spot if you think he gets minutes off the bench.
I don't know.
Dominate the boards with this team.
Well, it depends on if Kuminga didn't play the other night, and they don't usually share space. He's not even coming up.
Yeah, it could be a Jackson Davis rebound game, but the point is the Nets should have rebounding problems in this matchup.
Yeah, the rebounding problems is what I kind of want to lead on. And I was looking at the team totals high, which is why I like Draymond like assists down here. Mm-hmm. I wasn't interested in his points. And let me just see.
Well, besides Claxton, they have no rim protection, so you can see a lot of backdoor cuts.
Yeah, I mean their team totals like 119.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, he can get six dimes pretty easily. Okay, cool. So all right, so we have our football stuff. We're gonna build some of that. We're taking OKC. We're taking Toronto. We're taking Tatum 10 rebounds. Oh my God, the price discrepancy is like really, it's way better on DK.
2-1's a bargain.
2-1's a great deal. And then either Draymond 5.5 assists or Draymond RA, whichever you like. Any insight on when Outlier is going to have Champions League? Benedict's coming on Wednesday to talk soccer, but I don't know. I got to check. I'll ask Evan when we're going to have some of that. All right, Scott, you and I will also probably lab some more after I do actual work, and then we will send things out. But
so question, if we're labbing multiple days early now for NFL, does that mean we're doing like Thanksgiving on Tuesday? Like what's the schedule now?
Actually, do you want to do I'm doing a Thanksgiving show at 11 on Thursday. So I guess you and I should do NFL tomorrow night.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
There you go. All right, Scott, where can everybody find you? Being an
Find me
ass.
on SGPN over here on the MLB show, the NBA show, tennis show as well. NBA show is the only thing going on right now. WNBA as well, but we got off seasons for MLB and tennis. Besides that, find me on Twitter, RSO Radio, and yeah, find me on the show.
I'm just thinking about how we got that FanDuel boost. Scott and I split our boosts because we're both moderately limited, and so we got a boost for tennis, and the season's over, so we just dumped it all on Sinner to win the Australian Open.
Pretty much.
Like,
he really just had one of the best seasons of all time. I'm trying to remember the exact number that he had. He lost 3 hard court matches the entire season this year. 3. He won north of 50. I think he was like 56. He was like 51-3 on hard court. He's an absolute savage. So
let me give everybody these plays. Nope, he is an absolute savage. Hell, Italia. All right. Cool. All right, Scott, you and I will continue to talk and give stuff out. Good luck everybody with your bets. You got what we at least love right here, and we will talk to you probably in another day. So bye now. And